Hello, I'm Chrissy Seaton. The question often arises, why don't Noahides convert to Judaism? Well, there are legitimate reasons why conversion is not appropriate for everyone. And today I would like to discuss a little bit further some of the reasons or reasons that pertain to my situation. And I began the process of conversion just like some other Noahides do. However, I then decided that it was not appropriate for me to convert to Judaism. And other people will have gone through this same situation for reasons many and varied to each individual. So why some of us don't convert? Well, I'm going to speak about my situation and give you some insight into what is involved and what transpires. So, converting to Orthodox Judaism, and I'd like to point out I'm not talking about Reform or Conservative Judaism, that is not part of mainstream Judaism. I'm talking about converting to legitimate Orthodox Judaism. When you go through the process of conversion and becoming a Jew, then there are certain laws and restrictions that are placed upon you. And they are quite stringent, those rules and laws. And as a Jew, you cannot break those rules. And those rules and restrictions will filter over into your personal life, your employment life, your family and friends, etc. So these requirements for me I had to address, and one of the main requirements of being a Jew is that you must live within walking distance of an Orthodox synagogue. Now, where I live, I'm 80 minutes drive from the closest synagogue, which is in Brisbane. So for me to abide by that ruling, that law, that requirement, I would have had to move into the city and find a dwelling that was in walking distance of the synagogue. Now, to do that, that would have required me to buy a house or an apartment or some sort of dwelling. And in order to do that, I would have to sell the family farm. And that would involve the livelihoods of 3 generations of my family who live on this farm with me. So that would have placed a severe, not only financial impact on the family, but it would have been a loss of security for the family over 3 generations in time. So that was a major issue that I had to consider. And I considered it for some time. It was in speaking with a rabbi, a very wise rabbi indeed, and I thank him ever so much. He said that in my instance he was referring to, that the conversion process for me would involve sacrificing my family and the unique relationship that the 3 generations have built up over time. I'll just repeat that. For me to convert and follow the rules and regulations, it would require me to sacrifice my family and the unique relationship we have all built up over the years. It's really something to think about, isn't it? And I can tell you that those words echoed in my ears for some time, and it took me some time to think all that through and I realised during that process and praying and being conscious of Hashem's presence in all our lives, that I did come to realise that Hashem does not require the sacrifice of my family. And I'll repeat that. Hashem does not require me to sacrifice the well-being of my family. And we're not into human sacrificing anymore, incidentally. And had I done that and sacrificed the family, I would have been sacrificing their income, sacrificing their homes, sacrificing the peaceful coexistence they have, and also sacrificing their emotional well-being. And that's quite a lot to consider. Also, I had to consider the existing and blessed life that Hashem has already given me and my family. We already have this wonderful existence of 3 generations, living a lifestyle that allows us to be conscious of God, awareness of God, practicing the 7 Noahide laws. And so to destroy that was not going to achieve anything, nothing whatsoever. So there was the deciding factor for me, that I could not, in all conscience, as a mother, as a Noahide, as a child of God, I could not go ahead with that under those circumstances. There are many other restrictions also and laws that affect converts, and they have the potential to divide families, make employment arrangements different, lifestyle changes, etc. And it is a difficult path to making that decision. But for me, once I faced the nitty-gritty, I knew that the decision was easy for me to make, and I thought, this is not right. I will stay as a Noahide. I have important work to do as a Noahide, and I do not want to be sacrificing my family. Recently, there's been some conversations floating around about this very thing, about why Noahides prefer to remain as righteous Gentiles rather than convert. And there's been some suggestions put forward, for instance, suggesting that conversion is better. Well, it may be for some people. That's perfectly understandable. There's more mitzvahs, so therefore there's more blessings, more spiritual growth and rewards, so to speak. And then there are some that hold that if the Noahides need that commitment and that desire to be a Jew. And that, I think, knocks hard on some Noahides, because it has an element, I guess, of disrespect and arrogance towards Noahides, who for very good reasons, such as I've explained, cannot. They might have the commitment and the desire, but they are not realistically able to convert to Judaism. So I find that difficult sometimes when people will tout that sort of a message. So it is disrespectful, and it is an element of arrogance when people make statements like that. And it brings me to consider sometimes, are those people really have poor communication skills perhaps, or are they intent on developing or devaluing the development of the importance of Noahides in the world, and what we do in the world and our place in the world to come? So I just want to remind everyone and reassure them that in God's eyes, Hashem sees both Noahide and Jew as important people. We're all his children. He loves us all equally. So we need to be reassured and remind ourselves of that frequently. In the Divine Code, the 3rd edition, there is on page 78 a paragraph. And briefly, this paragraph says that the pious of the nations of the world, that's meaning the Gentiles, Noahides, if they keep the 7 Noahide laws because God has commanded us to do so, and they learn Torah that is pertaining to the 7 Noahide laws, then they are considered, in the eyes of Hashem, that they are considered to be like a high priest in the Holy Temple. So their position is seen as honourable, like that of a high priest. So I don't think Hashem is devaluing the role of Noahides in the world as it is today, and certainly the righteous of the nations will gain a position in the world to come. People often wonder why people are exiting groups and not staying involved with certain teaching groups, etc. And I think that sometimes it does come back to there is a little bit of arrogance filtering through at times that implies that the Noahide is lesser than or not equal to the Jew. Well, we all have roles to play, and they are unique to us. We have a unique soul. We have a unique mission in life to fulfill for Hashem. And whether we are Noahide or Jew, we are still loved equally by Hashem because he is our loving Father. So to those who make these inappropriate remarks, I'm reminded of an very old saying, a very old wise saying. It says that it is better for one to keep their mouth closed and appear foolish than to open it and remove all doubt. I just want to remind everyone, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button and hit the bell to be reminded when the next video is released. And also the Thursdays at 2 p.m. Israel time, Devorah Sinton and myself co-host The Power of Prayer. It's recorded live and you can watch the recordings afterwards. So please be aware of that. It's a wonderful program. And once again, I just want to remind you, as a Noahide, you are just as important to Hashem as anybody else in this world, including the Jews. Please take care and God bless.